What does it mean to belong to an empire? In the late 1600s and early 1700s, colonists in North America proudly considered themselves British. They dressed like the British elite, traded within the British Empire, and believed they shared a common identity rooted in Protestantism and loyalty to the crown. But beneath that sense of unity were deep tensions, conflicts with Native Americans, the rapid growth of slavery, political struggles over representation, and growing racial divisions. In this video, we'll explore how England expanded its empire after the restoration of the monarchy in 1660, how new colonies developed, and how slavery and social inequality shaped colonial life. Our story begins in 1660. After a decade of civil war and political instability in England, the monarchy was restored under King Charles II. Colonists on both sides of the Atlantic celebrated the return of the king. They saw themselves as loyal members of the British Empire, politically, economically, and culturally. Charles II wasted no time strengthening England's global power. Between the 1660s and 1680s, he expanded English control in North America by establishing what historians call the Restoration Colonies. These included New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, the Carolinas. To maximize economic benefit from the colonies, Charles II enforced mercantilist policies through the Navigation Acts. These laws required colonial trade to flow through England. In theory, they strengthened imperial control. In practice, enforcement was often weak, and many merchants ignored them. Still, the empire grew stronger. Trade increased, plantation agriculture expanded, and slavery became central to the colonial economy, especially in the southern colonies. The Carolinas and the growth of slavery. The Carolinas became one of the most important restoration colonies. By the early 1700s, South Carolina produced rice and indigo. North Carolina produced naval supplies like tar and turpentine. Tobacco remained central in Virginia and North Carolina. Charlestown, later Charleston, became a major southern port and played a significant role in the Atlantic slave trade. Many early migrants to South Carolina came from Barbados, where slavery was already well established. They brought with them a plantation system built on enslaved labor. By 1715, South Carolina had a black majority due to the large enslaved population. Slave laws modeled after the Barbados slave codes legally defined Africans as property, reducing human beings to commodities to be bought and sold. This created a wealthy planter elite who dominated the colony economically and politically. Native American resistance, the Yamasee War. The expansion of English settlement came at a devastating cost to Native Americans. European diseases had already reduced native populations. At the same time, English settlers expanded rice and tobacco fields onto native lands. Tensions rose as English traders demanded payment for debts. Native women were taken captive. Native tribes became dependent on European goods like guns. These pressures led to the Yamasee War, which lasted from 1715 to 1718, a coalition effort by native tribes, including the Yamasee and Creek, to drive the English out of the Carolinas. For a time, the uprising nearly succeeded. The Carolina colonies were close to collapse. Only when the Cherokee allied with the English did the war turn. The Yamasee War reveals two important themes. Native Americans played a crucial role in shaping colonial history. Disunity among tribes weakened resistance to European expansion. New York and New Jersey, imperial rivalry. Meanwhile, England competed with the Dutch for control of North America. During the Anglo-Dutch Wars, England seized the Dutch colony of New Netherland in 1664 and renamed it New York after the Duke of York, the king's brother. Control of the colony changed hands briefly, but by 1674, England firmly controlled the region. At first, colonists had little political voice. The Duke of York ruled without establishing a representative assembly. It wasn't until 1683 that colonists gained a local legislature through the Charter of Liberties and Privileges, which promised rights such as trial by jury and representative government. However, economic power remained concentrated. Large estates were granted to elite families through the patroonship system. Wealthy landowners, like the Livingston family, controlled vast acreage and formed powerful political networks. This pattern, elite landowners dominating colonial politics, mirrored what was happening in the South. The colonial gentry and consumer revolution. By the 18th century, a distinct colonial upper class had emerged. This colonial gentry modeled themselves after the English aristocracy. To be genteel meant refined, educated, and socially superior. They built large mansions and filled them with imported goods. Their clothing, furniture, and portraits signaled their identity as proud British subjects. One example is William Byrd II of Virginia, a wealthy planter and slaveholder who founded Richmond and documented plantation life in his diaries. This period also saw the rise of the Consumer Revolution. Colonists increasingly purchased British manufactured goods, tea sets, textiles, fine furniture. Even ordinary colonists began participating in this expanding marketplace, but wealth was unevenly distributed. The Consumer Revolution rested on systems of indentured servitude and slavery. Refinement for some depended on exploitation of others. The New York conspiracy trials of 1741. Racial tensions were not limited to the South. In 1741, New York City experienced a wave of panic after 13 fires broke out, including one that destroyed Fort George. White residents feared an enslaved uprising. Rumors spread of a massive conspiracy involving enslaved people and even Roman Catholics. Authorities arrested nearly 200 people. After rapid trials, 13 black men were publicly burned at the stake. Others were hanged. 70 were sold into the West Indies. There is little evidence that an organized conspiracy actually existed. The episode illustrates how fear and racial tension shaped colonial society. The trials reinforced white dominance and deepened racial divisions in British America. Let's step back and consider the bigger picture. Between 1660 and 1763, the English Empire expanded dramatically. Colonists enjoyed increasing wealth, political influence, and a shared British identity. But beneath that imperial pride were contradictions. Colonists demanded rights as Englishmen while denying rights to enslaved Africans. They celebrated representative government, but allowed elite families to dominate politics. They relied on native alliances while pushing native peoples off their land. Think of the empire as a growing structure built on uneven foundations. The wealth of rice planters depended on enslaved labor. The stability of colonies depended on native alliances. The loyalty to Britain depended on economic opportunity. Over time, these tensions would grow. The same colonists who proudly displayed British goods during the Consumer Revolution would later protest British taxation. The same political assemblies that defended English liberties would challenge imperial authority. Understanding this period helps us see how colonial identity developed and how fragile that identity really was. Conclusion and key takeaways. Let's summarize the key themes from this video. 1. The Restoration strengthened the English Empire. Charles II expanded colonial holdings and reinforced mercantilist trade policies. 2. Slavery became central to colonial society. Especially in the Carolinas, plantation wealth depended on enslaved labor. 3. Native resistance shaped colonial outcomes. The Yamasee War shows how powerful native coalitions could be and how disunity affected resistance. 4. Colonial society became increasingly unequal. The rise of the gentry and the Consumer Revolution created visible social divisions. 5. Racial tensions intensified. Events like the New York conspiracy trials revealed deep fears and systemic injustice. By 1763, Britain controlled a vast empire in North America. Colonists saw themselves as British subjects, yet the inequalities, conflicts, and contradictions of this era laid the groundwork for future change. In our next video, we'll see how these tensions begin to push the colonies toward resistance and eventually revolution. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you understand history, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more lessons that will help you succeed in this class and beyond. See you in the next video.